Okay, here we are going to use factoring. Here we're going to use factoring to find the zeros. So remember, zeros is basically just an x-intercept. So we make the y 0. So because the directions are to factor, we have 4 terms, so we're going to factor by grouping. So we split. Remember, when you factor by grouping, the parentheses should be the same. If you have a problem factoring by grouping, you need to look at a grouping video, which I also have on the page somewhere. So we're going to pull out the x minus 3. And then we're going to put together the x squared minus the 4 in its own set of parentheses. So each factor is set to 0. And you're going to solve for x. So here, x is equal to 3. Here we have x squared minus 4. So we're going to do the square root property. Okay, whenever you do the square root property, you must account for the positive possibility and the negative possibility. So you must put the plus or minus. If you don't want to do the square root property, you could factor this, which is the difference of 2 perfect squares. And then set each one of those factors equal to 0. And so you still would get the 2 and the negative 2. So our zeros here are 3, 2, and negative 2. And that's it. All you're doing is solving for x. In the second example here, we have 3 terms. So it doesn't start with a square. So that right there, because the directions say to factor, because it's an x cubed, there is a GCF present. So here they all have an x. So I factor out an x squared plus x minus 42. So now we're just looking at x squared plus x minus 42. It's just a trinomial. Again, if you do not know how to factor, you need to go watch a factoring video. So you're going to do factors of negative 42 that can create a positive 1. 7 and 6. So to get a positive 1, I'll do a positive 7 and a negative 6. That'll give me a positive 1. If I multiply them, I get a negative 42. So it double checks. So I do 2 sets of parentheses. X plus 7. X minus 6. So x times x plus 7 times x minus 6 is equal to 0. You set each factor to 0. So x is equal to negative 6. And x is equal to 6. So we have x is 0, negative 6, and 6. And we are finished. Remember, the degree of the exponent will tell you how many zeros you should have. Okay? Take your time. You can do it. Math is fun. And it's easy.